So yeah, just to, I guess, like underscore some of the things that you've said, there are potential risks to becoming too lean for women, but also for men, right? Like bodybuilders, when they get super lean in the context of contest prep, they see a decline in testosterone. They feel pretty lousy, most of them, but they're doing it for a goal, right? To get into contest shape. But there is a degree of fat that you want to carry so that you can ensure that your hormones are functioning optimally for both men and women.
Yep. No, I agree.
Things.
I think you're exactly right. A lot of bodybuilders are starting to find out about me and my interest in muscle tissue and fat ratios. And they've shared with me that they just lift better. They perform better at about 10 to 15% body weight. That's not competition level. You want to be down closer to below 10 if you want to do competition. But they just lift better. They've noticed when they have that layer of sub-Q fat, superficial sub-Q fat, that they just have more energy and you can tap into it better. So when you want to go out and hunt, you want to be involved in a fight, you want to be involved in any kind of an important function in life, you want that extra layer of fat that's available to you. And you don't want to have zero reserves where you have you're just shredded and you can see striated muscle. And, in the ER, when I was an ER physician, the elderly would come in, 80-year-old would fall, trip over curb. They would cut their skin. As soon as their skin got cut, you'd see muscle. There was no fat. But do you know who had beautiful fat? Babies and toddlers, children. As soon as you cut their arms or their legs or something, there'd be this beautiful fat that they have. And that's what you want, this superficial subcutaneous fat. And then as we lose our health, we lose our beneficial fat and it gets replaced. Our depots literally are being replaced. They're swapping our beautiful superficial subcutaneous fat with this deadly fat, visceral fat, and then fat within our muscles called myosteatosis, and then fat around the heart. So we'll be able to see all three of those. And there's a fourth one that's very bad called deep subcutaneous fat. So believe it or not, subcutaneous fat is made up of two kinds, and they're so different. There's a membrane that separates us. It's remarkable. It's not even taught to us in medical school, so I only learned this as a researcher. But there's a membrane that separates this subcutaneous fat from the good kind from the bad kind. So another way of kind of summing up what I talk about is good fat and bad fat. Not all fat is the same. You talk to doctors. If you walked into a doctor and you said, Max, tell me about good fat and tell me about bad fat, they'd probably think you're talking about diet. I said, no, I want you to talk about it in the body like mine. And that will be a very short conversation. But if you are a regular follower to the Genius Life, you come here and you see me talk about it, then you get these kind of insights about what is good fat and what is bad fat. And yeah, the MRI is kind of an expensive modality, but if I have anything to do with it, I'm going to get the prices down, and it would be much more commonplace. And lots of people are getting MRIs for a variety of different reasons, and you can go back and analyze your MRIs or analyze even a CT scan and see these fats that will not be read by your doctor. But if you're aware, you follow my videos, I cover this kind of content, and you'll be able to look at your own CT scan and diagnose good fat from bad fat.
And it's interesting, like you don't administer these tests. You're not involved in any of these like MRI companies, so there's no conflict of interest.
No.
Right? You're just here presenting the readings, the data.
Yeah. No, it's interesting. I was just driving in today, and I was thinking, God, I would make a killing if I just read MRIs and just offered them. But I've made a decision as the founder of my medical practice not to be in the business of just getting MRIs and reading them. I want to work with people to get rid of this dangerous fat. Now, other practices and companies will come along, and I think it will be important that they become commercially viable. If you're going to really get people healthy, Max, you've got to be able to do it within the context of a commercially viable practice. No charity is going to change humanity. We're not going to get charity step in and change humanity the way Amazon or Apple or Google has. You have to do it where it's driven by the wheels of commerce and economics. But for me, I want to be known for somebody that worked with people to get rid of this dangerous fat and change their lives. There'll be other practices and other companies will be scanning people. And if I had any influence in them, I'd try to figure out a way that we could do this much more affordably. So we're developing new techniques. I'm trying to figure out ways that I can get this information where somebody who does MRI scans can do it more operationally easier, so it's more efficient, cut down on the cost. But yeah, I don't have any conflict of interest. I send people to existing MRI centers. In fact, anybody, you can jump right now into ChatGPT or Google and say, MRI South Referral Center near me, and you'll probably be able to find a center in your state, not too far from you, that will do an MRI without even a physician order. So you can get this. If you watch what happens with Max here, and you're like, dang, I want that, then you'll be able to do that.
It's pretty dope. Yeah, I did a full body MRI with Prenuvo, and I have no financial affiliation with them. They gave me the scan complimentary. They comped it for me, and I have a discount to offer listeners and viewers. I think prenuvo.com/max, but I get no commission from that. And I know they have centers all over the United States, but yeah, I found it to be really a fairly effortless, thing to do. I had to lie in the scanning bed for about an hour and a half. They had like a screen so I could watch like a Netflix movie or something, like while I was doing it, if I recall correctly. And yeah, it was pretty cool being taken on essentially a tour around your body from a radiologist. It was a pretty dope experience.
Yeah, it's a good service. I think Prenuvo's really good. And shake my hand, man. Good job that you're doing that code without any financial interest.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're listening to Genius Life or you're brand new here, how many influencers do a promotion code without any financial interest? I mean, it's exceptional. I do it myself. But Max is awesome. He's willing to do that. So, it's a dope thing that he's doing that. It's great.
There are other companies, now that have become available to consumers, but super cool. Glad I did it, and I'm excited to get into the results. So just to be clear before we proceed, so there's, to make it really simple for people, there's quote unquote good fat, bad fat. Within the bucket of good fat, you've got your subcutaneous fat, you've got your brown fat, brown adipose tissue. And then in the bucket of bad fat, you've got your visceral intra-abdominal fat, and then you've got this intramuscular fat. Right.
Yeah.
And also ectopic fat as well, like in your organs, actually. There are other organs that, when your professional fat storage sites become overfilled, then you'll start to accumulate fat in the liver, in your pancreas, and that's where real problems start to happen, right?
It does. So the interesting thing is when you accumulate visceral fat, you proportionally accumulate fat in your muscle, and accumulate fat around your heart, you accumulate fat in your deep subcutaneous space, and you start to shrink your superficial subcutaneous fat. So I call them the four deadly horsemen: heart fat, ectopic fat, muscle fat, visceral fat, and then deep subcutaneous fat. And those four horsemen are the same size in the saddle. They all have basically the same size to them. And I like to use an analogy that they have guns. Their only harm, Max, is from the guns. They shoot these bullets, but these bullets are so tiny that you don't know. So as the bullets come from the fat that's secreting these inflammatory molecules, but you can't feel the fact that you're being shot. So what does that mean? If you end up having a surgery and they open you up and dump a bunch of visceral fat into you, you will not feel the gunshots from that fat, and you will look the same until the influence of that gunfire over a period of time. So I'm an emergency medicine doctor. I have lots of training, took care of lots of gunshot victims. Some made it, many of them didn't. And they knew when they got shot. But these bullets are so small, these molecules, that you just can't pick up on it. So what happens, the way you can detect it is if you look at your photographs. Over the years, your appearance will worsen typically. But the interesting thing is client patients that work with our practice to get rid of these dangerous fats, their pictures, their appearance of their body, their faces just dramatically improve over a period of time. So It's this inflammatory fat you don't know about that causes these substances to be released, causes inflammatory changes throughout your body, changing your face, changing your body habitus, just really causing chronic disease, sarcopenia, the loss of muscle mass, loss of muscle performance, sagging of muscles, lots of just changes that people don't know about. In fact, from the experience, the way I found out about visceral fat was 7 years of doing studies, volunteering for 7 years full time, never taking a penny for the National Science Foundation because the importance of this visceral fat. I saw it early on. It was just so important that myself and another physician, we both volunteered for these 7 years, never took a penny, full time, 4 a.m. to 7 p.m. a lot. And then I worked part time to support my family. You know, I worked part time in urgent care to support my 5 kids. And so that was a real sacrifice, but I loved every minute, everything I learned about it. And now I take that knowledge and I use it to help people that want to become aware of this type of inflammatory fat inside their body, and then get rid of it.
Hey, if you liked that video, you need to check out this one here, and I'll see you there.